My guest tonight is a very funny comedian and an actor who's appeared in numerous shows, including Silicon Valley, Blackish, and his own very funny Comedy Central series, Review. Now you can hear him on the fantastic podcast, Bonanas For Bonanza.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, please welcome a good friend of our show and a very, very funny fellow, Andy Daly. Andy, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Conan? What's going on?
I got to tell you, this is an interesting time we're in, and I think you're responding the same way I am, which is just letting my hair grow. Your hair's gotten quite long.
It really has. Yes. It's gotten, it's been 7 months or so since I've had a haircut. It's very much off-brand for me.
I know, you're always the clean cut look. I find myself doing this a lot now. I'm doing a lot of stuff with my fingers to move my hair around, like I'm sort of like a Charlie's Angels, you know?
I've been amusing my children with this.
Let's see it.
I do that.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
And then I tell them about Flock of Seagulls, and then that's they leave the room.
Yeah, no one really wants to hear about that. You know, we found this picture of you.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is you in high school. What's the story with this photo? You had no idea that your picture was being taken. What's going on?
Well, that was junior year of high school. I took that picture for the yearbook, but they gave me a chance to retake it, and I took them up on that. So that's actually a rejected yearbook photo that no one's ever seen before.
This was rejected?
I rejected that one. But look, my hair is getting back there now.
Yeah, you're getting back there. Although, guess what? You can tell now this was an innocent young man. And when I look at this guy, the new Andy Daly, the current day Andy Daly, I see a man who's lost his soul.
Yes, clearly. But I want to see if I can get that smile, if I can duplicate that smile, because I don't know what that smile is trying to communicate.
Yeah, what does that smile say? Can you get it back?
It's like, what's up, future?
Hey, future. Hey, future. I'm ready for whatever you got.
Can I show you one of the weirdest parts? I still have that tie. Why do I still have that tie?
No.
Yes.
That's sad that you have that tie.
It's sad.
Not sad, impressive. It's one or the other. I don't know which one
60-40.
You just released an album.
Oh, yes.
I'm a big fan of your work. I love your I've listened actually to many of your hilarious monologues. I've listened to them. I've downloaded them and listened to them. You've got a new album out. It's called 4 More Sweaters, Monsters Take Your Questions.
Yes.
Tell me, what is the premise of this comedy album?
Well, I took 4 of the characters that I do, and I did them on stage at the UCB Theater, and they each have like a 6 or 7 minute monologue, and then I turn on the house lights and throw open the floor to questions as the character.
As the character, you improvise the answers. Now,
exactly.
Which characters are you doing on the album? Are you doing Chip Gardner?
Chip Gardner is one. Yes, Chip Gardner is he's an old game show host from the 80s or so whose face has been terribly disfigured in a botched suicide attempt. And he's running for he's running for honorary mayor of Hollywood, a position which has been left vacant for 9 years already. And he's also an avowed Satanist. And so one of his promises, if you vote for him, is to bring Satan's kingdom to earth. He truly believes that Satan will rise from a lake of fire and rain chaos and destruction upon the world. And I'll be ruling at his side when that happens.
Okay. So he says it all with this nice sort of announcer's voice. And he wants to be the mayor of Hollywood?
Yes, the honorary mayor of Hollywood. It's an honorary position appointed by the Chamber of Commerce. Just write them a letter and let them know Chip Gardner is your man for honorary mayor of Hollywood.
Does Chip Gardner have any real talent?
You're hearing it right here. He's got pretty good enunciation, and that's about it for talents.
So he's one of the characters. Another character of yours is Don DeMello. Tell us about Don DeMello.
Well, Don DeMello is a theatrical director. He is the director of the Radio City Music Hall Christmas Spectacular. And he spends a lot of time working on the Rockettes. That's the part of the show that Don gets very intimately involved with. The Rockettes, if you get them hooked on heroin, they'll do anything you tell them to do. You make sure they're all the exact same height with the same smile, and they're kicking the legs up at a perfect time.
So he's an old creep
Yes.
who likes to work intimately with the Rockettes.
Yes, that part of the show is just for daddy. That's kind of.
Where did that character come from?
I saw that show, that Radio City, it's all for kids. It's got Santa Claus. It's fully a children's show. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of it, out comes this throwback to the Ziegfeld Follies leggy can-can dancers. And it just seems like an odd combo.
Right.
And I just thought,
I think that's in there for daddy.
and there's got to be a guy behind the scenes going,
Faster, higher, more smiles.
And the Rockettes are saying, why are we in this? This is for like 4 and 5-year-olds.
He'll do as you're told.
Yeah, got it.
No more candy.
One of your very popular characters that you featured on our show several times is Dalton Wilcox, who's a cowboy.
Yes.
He's a cowboy, but there's a twist, as there always is with your characters.
So I'll put on my my cowboy hat to be Dalton Wilcox, and I also feel like this character needs a mustache. Oh dear, but I don't have glue for it, so if you don't mind, I'm just going to hold this mustache in place.
We're all doing what we can during COVID, so
It's a difficult time.
Yeah.
But a lot of cowboys will do this. A lot of cowboys will just hold
No cowboys walk around holding their mustache on.
No, you're wrong about that, Conan. A lot of cowboys have to hold their mustaches in place out there on the plains where the winds are whipping up. It's hard to keep a mustache down, Conan. That's a fact.
Are you saying, Mr. Wilcox, that Sam Elliott, with his famous mustache, has to be holding it on all the time?
Absolutely. They say 3, 2, 1, take, and he puts his fingers away. But as soon as they call cut, fingers back up there, he's got to hold that mustache on. It won't stay there but for a few minutes.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Well, I am Dalton Wilcox. I am the poet laureate of the West. And in addition, I'm a cowboy poet. You understand? A real cowboy.
Yes, understand. Yep.
The real American West, not the bullshit West you're living in out there in California. I'm talking about the real West.
The real West.
Yeah,
all right.
The real American West. And in addition to being our nation's foremost collector and chronicler of the wit and wisdom of the West, I am also very unfortunately plagued by vampires.
Okay, this is the part I wanted to get to. Dalton Wilcox, very great, a poet of the high plains, a wonderful cowboy character, but he's obsessed with vampires, and he thinks that vampires are after him all the time.
Well, I'd say they're obsessed with me, Conan. I can't go anywhere but the vampire doesn't come up and try and kill me. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Just the other day, I parked my truck at a parking meter, and I put a couple of nickels in there, and I went about my business. And then when I came back, some fellow was putting a ticket on my windshield.
Right, that happens.
I marched right up to that son of a gun, and I says, "Hey, are you a damn vampire?" And he basically said that he was. I knew it. I knew it the second I saw him.
Did he say he was a vampire?
Well, he said, vampire, what are you talking about? And that's what they all say, Conan. Chapter and verse, that's what a vampire always says when you ask him point blank if he's a vampire. He says,
No, that's what a traffic cop says who's giving tickets and who's writing a ticket. If you ask him, are you a vampire? He says, no, I'm not a vampire.
I've never run into a traffic cop, Conan. I've just run into lots of vampires out there putting tickets on my windshield. Anyway, I struck him in the heart with a stake of wood, Conan.
Okay, no.
But he did have time to write the ticket. Do I have to pay that ticket? Do you know if I have to pay the ticket if I killed the man who wrote it?
Yes, you do. You have to still pay the ticket.
That ain't right.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. I have a question for Andy Daly, if he's still around. You still in there, Andy?
I'm here.
Andy, I'm just curious.
Yes.
When you look at this kid, you have no idea that all that sickness is inside him. Did you know that? He looks like such a sweet kid. And tie aside, there's no sign of evil or problems.
I don't know. I was going for Bono Joshua Tree at the time. And to this day, I still don't know how I went wrong.
I want to ask you, you've got this podcast that people really do enjoy. I find it to be hilarious. It's called Bonanas For Bonanza.
Yes, that's right. And it's actually a podcast that the character Dalton Wilcox
is in.
hosts. He is the host of Bonanas for Bonanza, along with the great Matt Gorley, as he plays a character named Mutt Taylor, country music legend Mutt Taylor. And Maria Bamford is on there as a Christian entrepreneur named Amy Sleeverson. And the three of them are super fans of the short-lived television Western series Bonanza that sadly
not short-lived at all.
Sadly, well, that show only had 431 episodes. It was only on during the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Yeah.
It's so each episode they go they do a deep dive on an episode of Bonanza. We talk about it scene by scene. We really get in depth.
There's a lot of these shows right now, podcasts, where people go over real shows, and this is sort of a satirical take on that. And you guys talk about Bonanza, and it's a very funny show. I'm curious if you've heard from actual fans of Bonanza. Do they know that this exists?
I would have to say no.
Which is good. They might not like it.
It's hard to find the real fans of Bonanza, although there's a website, there's a forum called bonanzaboomers.com, and I check in with it every once in a while, just waiting for somebody to post on there, hey, there's a podcast where each episode is devoted to an episode of the show we all love. But so far they have not discovered it.
Now, well, I'll tell you what, my brother Neil is a huge fan of Bonanza.
Wow.
And he has a encyclopedic knowledge of that show. And whenever I'm with him, he makes me watch a couple of them. So I know a lot more about Bonanza than you would ever imagine.
Oh, really? Well,
It
is a fascinating show. We've learned a few things. We're only 12 episodes in, and apparently it constantly happens that one of the Cartwrights develops a love interest who seems like she's going to move to the Ponderosa and be a permanent member of the cast, and she always dies.
Always gets killed.
Yeah.
Every one of them says, I like her and I might want to marry her. Before the end of the episode, she's killed.
Yeah, one of them got a pitchfork to the side, and one of them, they've been dying of diseases, and it's been fascinating. And then the other thing is that about half the episodes, or maybe a third of the episodes, the story cannot accommodate all four of the regular members of the cast. So the very first scene is two of the characters going, well, we're off to California. Good luck.
Right. We're not getting paid this week.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, people should check that out because it really is very funny. Make sure I get the word out. Bonanas for Bonanza is available wherever you get your podcasts.
And Bananas,
what's that?
I was just going to point out that Bananas is spelled correctly. Bonanas.
Yes, B-O. Yes.
Bonanas for Bonanza.
Bonanas for Bonanza. And I just say bananas, but
exactly.
That's how I say it.
Yes,
Review, the complete series DVD is out now. Check that out.
Yeah, it's exclusive to Amazon. That's where you'll find it.
And then I think you and I, when we do get our hair cut, should get it cut together.
I think that's a great idea. My children are begging to cut my hair, but I don't see that how I would come out of that with both ears.
Is yours getting long in the back? Mine's starting to get, there's a lot back here.
It's quite long back there. Yeah.
We are two very pretty girls.
I know. I I think I could do period pieces. I could be a corporate stooge as long as it's an early 70s.
Yes.
Thing.
Yes.
I could say, sir, we can't afford to put seatbelts on all of our cars.
That's an outrageous idea, sir.
It'll never work.
Yeah. And this is 1971.
Exactly.
Andy, you're a good man.
Why, thank you.
A fine man.
I've recently learned that when receiving a compliment, it's a good idea to also return the compliment. So I think you're fine. You're fine.
That's all the time we have. Andy, thank you so much. Nice talking to you. Be safe. Be well.
Thank you. I really enjoyed that. Thanks for doing it.